This is Joy Rowland, and you are listening to the Empowered Wealthy Women podcast. This is episode number 52, the ultimate blueprint for building wealth. Welcome to Empowered Wealthy Women, a podcast for ambitious women who want to build wealth. You'll learn how to finally fix your relationship with money, increase your net worth, and make more money. Ladies, it's time to create a life of abundance, wealth, empowerment, and joy. Ready? Let's go! Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Wealthy Women podcast. This is episode number 52. I'm so excited you're here. If this is your first time on my podcast, welcome. So nice to meet you virtually. And if you are a regular listener, welcome again. Now, before I dive into today's topic, I wanted to tell you what happened on, I think it was on Wednesday. So we were running very, very late for school. My daughter, she's 5, and I kept telling her to get ready, right? I kept telling her get to move on, but she was just acting slowly, just taking her time like she was the Queen of England. I know she's a queen, but you get what I mean. So finally, I had it, and I kind of raised my voice and I said, Ivy, you gotta speed it up. We are very, very late. The next words that came out of her mouth stopped me in my tracks. Her words were, Mommy, I am so disappointed that you yelled at me. Like, I didn't even know that she knew what the word disappointed meant. She just turned 5. And so I just, like, throughout the day in my office, I kept thinking, I'm like, my daughter is disappointed in me. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to take more parenting lessons. Like, he just cracked me up. The fact that she could tell me that she was disappointed that I yelled at her. Anyway, that's a side note. I hope that made you smile. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about the ultimate blueprint for building wealth. I've had a number of people ask me this, and I thought, why not do a podcast episode so people can always refer to it anytime you need a refresher as you build wealth? Now, the first thing I want to tell you is you have to know what your goal is as you go on the journey of building wealth, you have to know what your goal is. So maybe your goal is $5 million per year. Okay, that's a goal. You have to set a goal to start with. The second thing is you have to know why. You have to define why you want to build wealth. Now, unfortunately, here in the West, I think people have become so relaxed and they've become so used to the lifestyle. I don't see very many people being ambitious to build wealth. I'll give you an example. When I set out to build wealth for myself, my reasons were very, very strong. My why were very, very strong. For example, I grew up in sub-Saharan Africa in abject poverty, and like we would only have a warm meal once every 3 days. Okay, that's how poor we were. And there was no running water. We would have to travel 5.2 miles to fetch drinking water. So I just want to give you a sense of how life was for me growing up. So my reason for building wealth is very strong. I wanted to help my family out of poverty. I wanted to be able to give my mother and my father, my siblings, a better life. So my reason for building wealth is very strong. Compare that to somebody who was born in the US, Canada, or the UK, Australia, or New Zealand, who have access to a very comfortable life. It- Very, very rarely would you find people who are ambitious to build wealth. They are okay with their comfortable life. They have a home, they have running water, they have electricity. So there is no drive to build wealth. So you have to define your reason for building wealth, and your reason have to be very, very emotional. It has to be a strong reason. Okay? Why? Why do I suggest you define your why? Because this is what will propel you forward on the journey to building wealth. Because yes, there will be times where you struggle, there will be times where you doubt, but your reason, your why will propel you forward. So defining your why is very, very important. As I gave you this roadmap or blueprint to building wealth, I'm going to give you from my perspective. And I think if you have this perspective as a background and a reference point as you build wealth, I'm not saying you have to do it exactly how I did it or how I'm doing it. I'm saying you can use my experience as a guide. Now, if you've listened to my podcast for every length of time, you know I talk about the scientific method. So that's what I recommend my clients do when they're building wealth using the scientific method. I'm going to talk about the scientific method in just a minute, but I don't want to lose my chain of thoughts. I want to go through my blueprint um, so that you have that. So the first thing is to have a source of income. Typically, this would be your 9 to 5 job, or maybe you run a business. Okay. So having that source of income is like very, very important. It's like the bedrock, the foundation of building wealth, because that's what will enable you to multiply that wealth to your advantage. I'll give you an example. So if you have a 9 to 5 job, you have to, at the very minimum, spend below what you earn. Okay, so this is what is called living below your means. So at the end of the month, when you look at your income and your expenses, there has to be a net positive balance. Okay, yes, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, it's going to be a stretch to build wealth because you need a net positive balance at the end of the month to do what I'm going to suggest you do. Okay, so that's the bedrock. If you're in a job where you don't have a net positive at the end of the month, a net positive balance in your bank account at the end of the month, breaking news, it's time to change jobs, right? I know um might be difficult to hear that, but you definitely have to change jobs. You have to upskill, you have to maybe look into the marketplace and see what pays more and then aim to get that job. Number two is when you have a net positive at the end of the month, you want to start investing. Now, I'm I know that's a big assumption. I'm assuming you don't have any debt, any consumer debt. If you have any consumer debt, I strongly advise you clear that as quickly as possible because debt is the number one sucker of wealth. Like it's impossible to build wealth if you are in destructive debt. When I say destructive debt, I'm saying debt where is not producing a return. Here's an example of destructive debt. You want to buy a sofa at home. Maybe you want to buy new furniture at home and you go and take out a high interest credit card. That sofa or the furniture you buy will not give you any return. I mean, regular interest, right? Once you buy it and you take it out of the store, it immediately diminishes in value. Okay? Compare that to a constructive debt, which is, for example, a mortgage on a rental property. And if that rental property pays you more than your mortgage and expenses and you have a net positive at the end of the month, that is a constructive debt. That mortgage you carry on that property is a constructive debt. So I'm assuming you don't have any destructive debt because you have to pay that up first. It's like when you're trying to build wealth and you have consumer debt where you pay high interest on, it's like pouring water in a basket. That's a waste of time because as you're pouring water in the basket, it's completely coming out the other side. Okay, so you have to make sure you don't have any consumer debt. Once you do that, you have to start investing. Yes, you have to start investing. And surprise, surprise, did you know that 79% of millionaires in the US said when they were polled, they said that regularly and consistently investing in retirement plans over a long period of time was the reason for their success. I'm going to say that again. 79% of millionaires attribute regular, consistent investing in retirement plans over a long period of time as the reason for their success. Many people will think that you have to just maybe create a magic product somewhere to be a millionaire. Well, that is possible, but 79% of millionaires became millionaires by investing in retirement plans. Yes, those gradual investments, simple investments. Every single month, you invest a particular amount of money into your investment plan. You have to do that. Like, you should have been doing that already. If you have not been doing that, you have to start right now. Why? Because you're going to leverage the power of compound interest to your advantage. Okay? So, retirement plans. Once you have that done, I believe that is the bare minimum. Okay? Having plan for your retirement is the bare minimum. Going forward from this step on, I'm going to tell you how to create massive wealth. So, how do you create massive wealth? I suggest you invest in real estate. Yes, that's one of the ways that has really helped me build wealth. Investing in real estate, rental properties. Now, if you are not ready to start doing that on your own, you can actually form a group of friends, maybe your family members, right? Now, I I really don't like this method, but it's better than just sitting and doing nothing. I invest by myself, but if you don't have the capacity to invest by yourself, it's okay to pull resources together with people you absolutely trust. Now, I'm saying absolutely trust in quotation marks because when money is involved in relationships is not a good idea. I've had family members run me over when I trusted them with borrowing them money, right? Like it's unbelievable. Even my blood sister, yes. So I don't really like it's just up to you, right? Because people are very different. So you get to decide looking at your network, people you can actually go into business with, invest in real estate, and you can build wealth that way. The other way is to buy businesses like franchises. I remember a couple of months ago, I had this franchise opportunity to invest in a business that um, helps long term care homes. So they go into people's homes where they are seniors and then they help those seniors with their medication, with getting ready for the day and all those kind of stuff. So you get to decide your risk tolerance. Look at the franchise opportunities around you and look at whether you can invest. And sometimes you can invest in those and hire people to run the business. So, say for example, you already have your own 9 to 5 business and a 9 to 5 job or a business. If you want to take that on, you can just hire people to run that for you. So, that's another way. The other way is I suggest, like, this is a must to have a side income from profiting from your gifts. Yes. So even though you have a 9 to 5 job or you have a business, you need to have something on the side where you profit from your gifts. Now, every single person has a gift that God has, multiple gifts in some instances. So, how are you going to profit from your gift? How are you going to profit from your skills? How are you going to profit from your experience? This is additional income that can come in that can fund your wealth journey, and actually it's almost like putting gasoline on fire because when you have additional money coming in per month, you can have more money to invest in either a business or in more rental properties. Now, what do I mean profit from your skills and profit from your gifts? So here's my example. When I came from the UK to Canada, I did the application myself. I applied for the um, permanent residency myself and it was successful. It's a very lengthy process. Many people just hire lawyers or immigration consultants and pay 5,000, in fact, sometimes $10,000 to get the application filed. So I saw this gap in the market and I'm like, well, I did this for myself. I can teach people how to do this for themselves. So I set up a coaching program. I told all my friends and I said, I can teach you how to apply for Canadian permanent residency yourself. So that's an example of how I was earning good income. At the time, I was charging 1,500 per person. Okay. Another side business I did. So I was doing this alongside my 9 to 5 job. At the time, I was an IT consultant in a bank. Okay, so I had a very demanding 9 to 5 job, but the weekends I would do all of these things. Another one I did was teaching new immigrants how to package their resume, how to apply for high paying jobs. That was another offer I had, and I made money from that as well. So, I'm giving you an example of how you can earn money on the side. You have to expand your vision of what's possible. When you ask your brain the right questions, it's going to give you the right answers. Okay? So don't sit and say, well, I have a very demanding life. There's nothing I can do. No. Ask your brain, how can I achieve this goal of, let's say, $1 million per year? How can I do this? Okay? Now, this is my roadmap for creating wealth. I did all of these things and now I am a full-time money coach. Why? Because I have experienced the power of coaching. Coaching helped me overcome all of my limiting beliefs. All of the limiting beliefs I had because I didn't feel like I was worthy of wealth. I didn't feel like I had the skills to build wealth, but coaching helped me. And that is why I chose this niche to be a money coach. Now, this blueprint I just gave you is not a secret, right? I think that um, anyone who is interested in building wealth can research this and find the answers online. Like I don't think this blueprint is anything new. The reason why many people are not wealthy is because of the human brain. Yes, we all have human brains and we have two parts, two key parts. One part is the primitive part. That is the part of our brain that we used when we were cavemen. When we were in the cave, it helped us to survive. The primitive brain has only three motivations. One, to run away from pain. Two, to run towards pleasure. And three, to conserve energy. Okay, to conserve calories. So your primitive brain doesn't want to do anything unless it is something that will give it pleasure or takes it away from pain or conserve energy. Building wealth doesn't fall into any of those categories. Yes, because building wealth requires that you stretch yourself, okay? And your primitive brain doesn't like that. The good news is we have another part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is also known as the executive part of our brain. This is the part of our brain that has evolved. This is the part of our brain that distinguishes us human beings from other animals. It's a part of our brain we can use for planning. It's the part of our brain that we can use to think about what we are thinking about. And usually, the prefrontal cortex always makes decisions that are in our best interest in the long term. Okay, so the reason why many people are not wealthy is because they allow their primitive brain to win. Why? Well, because when you decide to build wealth, all of your limiting beliefs will come up, all of the obstacles will come up, and only those that are able to stay the course long enough to overcome all of those limiting beliefs, those are the people that win. Those are the people that become multi-millionaires. Yes, if it was easy as just knowing the steps, every single person and their mom will be millionaires. The reason why we don't have so many millionaires or so many successful people is because it is hard. Yes, it is hard. But remember, a couple of weeks ago, one of the topics I talked about was as empowered, wealthy women, we know it's hard and we can do hard things, right? And remember, I told you at the beginning that defining your why is very crucial. When things get hard, your why will propel you forward. Now, at the beginning, I had talked about how we can use the scientific method. The scientific method says, first of all, define your goal. Second, make a hypothesis. Make a guess. Hypothesis is a guess. That's a fancy way of saying take a guess. But it has to be an educated guess. Take an educated guess at how you can achieve that goal, right? So, first, set a goal. Two, make an educated guess on how you can achieve that goal. And number three is do the thing. Okay. So take action on your educated guess. Number four is data analysis. Analyze the data and see how your educated guess is coming along. Did it work? If it didn't work, analyze why it didn't work and then make another educated guess. And then try that again. And keep going until you find what works. When you find what works, just keep doing it over and over again. That's exactly what scientists do to create all of the amazing things we have. Yes, light bulb, the microwave, the electric car, the regular car we have, the airplane. All of these inventions we enjoy today were invented using this scientific method. Those inventors didn't succeed at the first try. Okay, they made an hypothesis and they kept trying until it worked. So, on your journey to building wealth, especially when it comes to your business, okay, like when it comes to the business you choose to build wealth. For example, I have chosen the path of being a wealth coach, a financial coach. I currently work with Dave Ramsey and the Financial Peace University. So, as I build my business, I'm gonna try different things. I'm gonna create I've created like over 15 lead magnets. Okay? Lead magnets. So these are freebies that you offer people for free in exchange for their email addresses. I've created 15 lead magnets. Each of them took me tons and tons of time, sleepless nights, right? I kept trying different things and testing them using Facebook ads and then using exactly the scientific method I gave you. Okay. How about social media? The work I'm doing on social media to get more clients, I keep testing different things. So that's the secret to success. You have to be willing to try different things. So here's your assignment. I love giving assignments. I want you to look at this blueprint. You can re-listen to the podcast and take notes. If you're driving, don't take notes. But if you're home, re-listen to this podcast and take notes. I want you to define your goal and I want you to come up with a hypothesis. I'm happy for you to share your goal with me. Okay, so send me an email. I'm readily available, joy@joyrowland.com, or you can send me a DM. I love hearing from my listeners. So I want to know, what's your goal? Are you ambitious? Do you want to build wealth? Now, it's okay to be fine with the status quo. So if you are that woman that just wants a 9 to 5, you punch in at work and you punch out and you get paid every month, that's fine. That's not the audience I'm targeting on this podcast. For this podcast, I'm targeting ambitious women who want more, women who want to stretch, women who want to see what's possible for them, women who want to be an example of what's possible for the young girls coming behind us. Okay, so those are the women I have for this podcast. Now, it's okay to be a woman who is fine with what she earns now. Like you have a 9 to 5 and maybe you earn $60,000 and you're fine. Okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that as long as you are happy. But the key here is to be honest with yourself. Okay? Don't say you're happy and deep down you know you're not happy. You're just deceiving yourself. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. If this has blessed you in any way, I encourage you to please share this with a woman you know will be blessed by this podcast. You'll be helping me so much by putting the word out there so I can reach more people. Also, if you haven't left me a review yet on Apple Podcast, please leave me a review. It truly, truly means a lot to me. And this is how Apple will know to promote my podcast to more people. As always, thank you very much for listening. I enjoy recording this podcast, and I'll see you here in the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, very quickly before you go, if you are ready to finally fix your relationship with money, increase your net worth, and make more money, then I invite you to my one-on-one private coaching program. This is where you learn how to take control of your money and build wealth. To get started, book a free intro call with me. The link is in the show notes. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.